Tonight on PhillyCAM Voices, we have a segment on the Mankind Project and two in-studio interviews. One about District Council 33 and the strike continues, as well as the fight continues for exoneration compensation in Pennsylvania. The second interview is with Shawna Lutzow, founder and producer of Lady Laughs, Philly. Lady Laughs, Philly, ha ha ha. I'm your host, Chinchila Jonesia. You don't want to miss this one. Joining us in studio is Reverend Jerome Fordham, the president of the National Action Network, Pennsylvania chapter, and also Obona Hagins, the president of the Philadelphia Reparations Coalition for the American Freedmen. We will talk about the impact that the strike that District Council 33 is having. It's day 7 today. So we're going to discuss the impact it's having on the citizens of Philadelphia and all the trash and everything else that goes along with it. So let's welcome my guest. How are you tonight, Reverend Fordham? How are you, Obona? Good, good. All right, so let's talk. This is day 3. Day 3, I wish it was day 3, but it's day 7, okay? Day 7 of this strike. The strike continues with the largest union here, 9,000 members, 9,000 workers are on strike here in Philadelphia. And what are your thoughts? Because the Council 33, it consists of not just our sanitation workers, but also it consists of libraries. Our libraries are affected. Also, swimming pools are affected. The 911 dispatch is affected as well, and many others. Also, they cover the airports, okay, the Philadelphia Airport, Philadelphia International Airport, with the sanitation workers there. And so that union is a very large union, and our city is impacted greatly. And what I would like to mention first, with our Mayor Sherelle Parker, they've been trying to negotiate, and a negotiation has not been reached because the District Council 33, they want what they want, and they want a 5% raise, over 3 years. Last year was 5%, this year, and then next year. That's how they want it, and she's not willing to do that. And while she ran her campaign for the safest, what is it, the cleanest, greenest, safest city in the country. And so what are your thoughts on that right now, Reverend Fordham? How is it impacting your community? What are your thoughts on the strike, and what do you feel as though should happen?
Well, I think the strike do not serve anybody in its best interest. The strike is really terrible. And I think for the mayor, the way she ran on her campaign to be the greenest, cleanest city, this is a time for her to prove what she stands for. She must realize she's the 100th mayor, and you see now the honeymoon is over. Now it's time to get down to the real work of the people. And you ran on being a people's person for the city of Philadelphia. And the time has come for her to step up to the plate and honor what she said, what she ran on.
Okay. What about you, Obona?
Well, I look at it a little bit differently. In 2021, the city was deemed structurally racist. When you have a structurally racist city, you have the American freedmen, the descendants of slavery, who suffer. This union is about 90% descendants of slavery, American freedmen. Would this strike be going on if it wasn't American freedmen? Our schools are the worst. Our neighborhoods are the worst. You mentioned the swimming pools. We need those swimming pools more than anyone because of our community, the lack of these types of swimming pools, right? Or swimming pools, or these activities. So I feel that by the mayor not paying attention to that structural racism bill that she knew about when she was in council to eradicate structural racism, they said in the study, the root cause of gun violence is structural racism, right? And the solution is large-scale investments. Where are the large-scale investments where the descendants of slavery live? So this is not just about this strike. This is about ongoing neglect of American freedmen.
All right. And how is this strike affecting your communities with trash and all that? Is it piled up? Are you, Reverend Fordham, taking your trash to the dump sites, or what's happening
No,
in your neighborhood?
I haven't yet because I don't have that much trash.
Okay.
But I have, when I was going to church on yesterday, I seen some dumpsters that is overfilled. And it is really a horrific scene. It's not a scene for the city of Philadelphia. We have to make sure that we are doing what we can to solve the strike. The strike benefit no one but the rodents, the rats, and the raccoons. They are the one, and the people who have to clean up after them, they are the one that will be making history, not the people.
Okay. What about the trash in your community, Obona?
Our environment is already messed up in the American freedmen community. This only exacerbates the problem. There's asthma problems that are at high rates in our community. This will affect us negatively. And again, American freedmen are being neglected. Structural racism is running rampant in the city. And until the mayor does something to deal with that, we're going to have continuations of issues like this. If it's not the strike for the sanitation workers of District Council 33, it's going to be the school district, it's going to be SEPTA. And again, as long as this city is structurally racist, we're going to have issues like this.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Now, I have some clips I want to show everyone. Clips that we have of the trash in the city of Philadelphia right now. So let's take a look at some of these clips. So as you see in these clips, we see our swimming pools unmanned. We see strikers. We see trash, piles and piles of trash. We see this man here, and this is my clip I call the no cash, no trash, okay? Because he's basically saying no cash, no trash is going to be collected. And it's just such a disservice right now, because this strike not only affects the workers, because they're not getting paid. They're not getting paid any money while they're striking. And so many have shared outside of the studio how they have been struggling now to provide for their families. And that's such a shame. So we hope that this strike ends soon, and that Mayor Parker will do the right thing and give the workers what they need, because they definitely deserve to get what they're asking for because of the work that they do. For heaven's sakes, we need them. We need them. And they need us to stand up for them and speak out for them. So right now we're going to switch gears a little bit, and we're going to talk really quickly about compensation in Pennsylvania for exonerees. So while District Council 33 is striking, we have a man, Pennsylvania Historical Exoneree Vince Moto, who is still fighting for a compensation bill to be passed in the city of Philadelphia. And it has not happened, okay? And, excuse me, in the state of Pennsylvania, not the city of Philadelphia, but the state of Pennsylvania. We're one of 11 states that do not compensate those that have been wronged through wrongful convictions. And July 23rd of this year, 2025, will mark Vincent Moto's 29th anniversary of freedom. And, you know, Vincent, let's put up his picture up there on the screen for a moment. That's Vincent Moto, everybody. And he's Pennsylvania historical exoneree. And why is he our historical exoneree? Well, simply because he is the first person to be exonerated through the use of DNA in the state of Pennsylvania. And Vincent has just walked in the door. He's calling on the phone now. I think someone went to let him in so he can say hello. But he is still fighting for that bill to be passed in Pennsylvania. And we definitely appreciate him and his fight, and we stand behind him. Reverend Fordham has been up to Harrisburg with us, fighting for a compensation bill, meeting with legislators and all. So we thank you guys for joining us tonight in the studio here at PhillyCAM. Thank you so much, Reverend Fordham, and also Obona Higgins. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Loneliness is an epidemic, but solutions are emerging. Get a sneak peek into how Mankind Project in Philadelphia is building a vital support network for men, helping them overcome isolation and thrive. You won't want to miss this powerful community story.
In our bustling cities, a quiet crisis is unfolding. Former Surgeon General Dr. Vivek Murthy has starkly highlighted loneliness and isolation as a profound public health concern, particularly affecting men. In an increasingly disconnected world, many men find themselves without vital support systems, leading to struggles with mental and emotional well-being. But in Philadelphia and other cities, a unique initiative, the Mankind Project, is confronting this very challenge head-on, creating a space where men can reconnect, find community, and rediscover their authentic selves.
So the Mankind Project is celebrating its 40th anniversary this year. We got started in the early 80s. There were three gentlemen, Bill Kauth, Ron Herring, and Rich Tosi, who were involved in different types of men's programs and men's development stuff and personal development stuff with men and women. And Bill Kauth had a moment of clarity while he was at a feminist therapist conference in seeing a whole lot of women as therapists who were really radically supporting each other, who were leaning in, who were creating spaces for really deep kind of connection and self-awareness and kind of breaking stereotypes. And he kind of said, where is this for the men?
I was probably at the lowest point in my life and didn't know what to do with my life. I had constant grief, grief that I didn't know how to live with.
At that time in my life, things were pretty much a flat line. I wasn't getting a lot of excitement out of any particular thing that I was doing, and it could be exciting.
Not feeling like safe to possess anger, for example, or even safe to assert myself, like a wound in like my masculinity.
So I was in the middle of a very dysfunctional divorce.
The founders came up with the idea of an adventure where they enter into an experience that is somewhat scripted and somewhat really consciously arranged to take men on a journey. And that journey is something that a lot of us, I did not get anywhere else in my life. This idea of going through a rite of passage, of going through an initiatory process that confronts me, that challenges my beliefs, that challenges the way that I make choices, that gets me to look at how I am responsible for my life, how I'm responsible for the choices that I make, and also gives a lot of men to see other men really confronting the burdens that they've that they are carrying, really confronting the isolation, really confronting stuckness, really confronting the ways that their choices have gotten in the way, really confronting who they want to be in the world.
I took myself out of my comfort zone and did something that is not the kind of thing I would do.
Processes that I went through in the weekend, and I got an opportunity just to really let anything I wanted to say it, and I felt that I was heard.
An experience where I learned to trust men more than ever. I found an openness in my empathy as a person.
Men emerge strangers on Friday night, right? They get there, they arrive, they've never met anyone in this space, they've never participated in anything like this. They go through this process of a rite of passage, and by Sunday afternoon, we call each other brothers.
I went in on Friday evening very angry and lonely and discombobulated man. I didn't have any direction in my life. I was angry at the world. And I left on Sunday evening with a mission and a vision for my future.
Earliest mission statement for the Mankind Project was very simple: empowering men to missions of service. For 26 years, we have been awarding an award called the Ron Herring Award. The Ron Herring Award is awarded to men in communities for their service. In Philadelphia, there's a man named Jim Katona. Jim Katona has been involved in the Mankind Project for a very long time. And one of the things that Jim Katona was involved with in Kensington was helping to get a large-scale mural on the side of a building that has the word respect on the side of the building.
So the acronym is: remember, everyone suffers painful experiences, communicate tenderly. It ended up on the wall at the Rue Street Garden of the Philadelphia Unknown nonprofit.
So his work in the community in Kensington helped to get that mural up on the wall and bring this forward, this idea of harmonious cooperation and respect in our communities.
In conversation with community reporter Sheila Emerson, we have Shawna Lutzow. All right, I did not have my mic in my hand. Up next, in conversation with community reporter Sheila Emerson, we have Shawna Lutzow from Lady Laughs Philly. Lady Laughs Philly is the city's only monthly comedy show that features all women and queer comics. Thank you for joining us in the studio, Shawna and Sheila.
Thanks for being with me tonight, Shawna. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So, first, I want to just talk about, what is your origin story? How did you get into comedy?
I got into comedy when I came out as queer at age 24. I started to hear a lot of questions or hear a lot of people's opinions that were a little inappropriate, but also I could swing it to be kind of funny. So I'm like, let me figure out how to kind of take more ownership over this process and make it funny and lighthearted.
Okay, I love that. And what is Lady Laughs Philly?
Lady Laughs Philly is a branch of Lady Laughs Comedy, which started in Madison, Wisconsin by a comedian named Nina Martinez. She is a trans woman comic, and I am from Wisconsin, and I performed with Lady Laughs Comedy several times in different shows and international comedy festivals. And when I moved out here, I did some research to find if there were any monthly or regular comedy shows that featured all women or all queer comics, and I found that there weren't any currently. And so I was like, let's make it happen. So I asked Dina if we could do a Lady Laughs comedy branch in Philly, and she said yes. So we've been collaborating from afar, and I've been finding some local talent to be on the shows and productions.
Why did you feel like there was a need for a Lady Laughs comedy kind of production?
As with most things in the world, comedy is also straight white male dominated, and I think it's important to create spaces that support identities that are, more than that. So it's just important to be able to create spaces for women and queer comics to have stage time and to let folks know how funny we are, and to have not only our stage diverse with comics, but also our audience to be able to come and hear some jokes that can resonate with their identities as well, and to have more of an opportunity to leave a comedy show like jovial and fun, and less opportunities to leave feeling defeated or triggered.
Okay, so let's get into that a little bit deeper. So you mentioned about cis heterosexual males dominating the comedy scene. Can cis heterosexual males come to Lady Laugh Comedy open mics, the lineup?
So our shows are exclusively all women and queer comics. We do open mics, and anyone can perform at our open mics, but we prioritize women and queer comics.
Okay.
Something that maybe not everybody knows in the comedy scene, especially the open mic scene, is that lists don't always go in order. Sometimes you don't get to go up. Sometimes it can be a boys club. It can be a who knows who kind of thing. And so for me, I'm like, if we just get to pick who goes up, then I'm going to prioritize women and queer comics. And if anyone's welcome to come, but I kind of low-key enjoy the dynamic of a straight man coming and wondering if this environment is for them, wondering if they're allowed to be there, or wondering if it's for them, because that's how a lot of women feel going to mics, or queer folks feel going to mics. So to flip that script, I think, is interesting. So we have had we have had straight men come to our mics and to be in the audience of our shows, and I'm grateful for the support. I think people should put themselves into situations that might push some of their comfort zones.
Okay, I love that. And what I know with Lady Laughs Comedy, I know that there's an open mic portion, and then you also actually have shows where there's actual lineups where folks get paid.
Yes.
How did that come about, that recipe?
So I started in March of 2024, and we had a show, and so I was kind of flip-flopping back and forth. One month I would do a show, the next month I would do an open mic, and as we built momentum and built a following, now we do a show every month, at least one show every month. And I'm hoping to lock in a monthly venue for our open mics. We did lock in every other month for the rest of the year at Tattooed Mom.
Okay.
So our next open mic will be Monday, July 14th at Tattooed Mom.
Nice.
And that's free. You can come watch. You can come perform. And our next show is this Saturday, July 12th at Silk City Diner.
Here's the flyer.
Yes, hopefully you see it around town.
I don't know if you can zoom in on the flyer or not.
Yeah.
But if you follow, we'll talk a little bit more about this
talk.
flyer. Okay. Super. So,
I didn't know I could see myself right there.
one of the things about your shows is that you intentionally have 50% of your lineup as folks who are BIPOC, Black, Indigenous, people of color. And that's very intentional. How did that come about?
Yeah, so I moved to Philadelphia 3 years ago from Wisconsin. And I, at the time, was close with somebody who was in the drag scene. And as she was getting acclimated to the drag scene out here, I was also learning more about nightlife culture and, just some of the culture. And I came across, or someone shared a town hall that was recorded in summer of 2020. And it was a drag and burlesque town hall that was put on by performers Vinchell, Icon Ebony Fierce, and it was facilitated by AJ Hikes. And that town hall was an opportunity to call in a lot of performers and producers to have better racial equity in their shows and in their general practices of life, of being mindful of how white supremacy can seep into every aspect of life and especially productions. So with that town hall, they had an expectation and continue to have an expectation for all nightlife producers to have at least 50% people of color in their lineups. In a city like Philadelphia, it is not hard to do, and that expectation is not unreasonable. So for it to be an expectation for drag and burlesque, I'm like, it should be an expectation for any entertainment or nightlife, so I just adopted it, and that's what I continue to do.
I love that. And what I also love is that it seems like you were mentored when you were in Wisconsin, and you're continuing that here in Philadelphia by allowing folks to work with you to co-produce comedy shows. How did that come about?
I've just had a couple people who I've become closer friends with that I'm like, are you interested in co-producing? So I've had a couple co-producers so far, and I think it's just fun to be able to spread the I don't know, joy of producing. I think every aspect of it is fun. Not everybody thinks that. Not everybody likes logistical pieces. So when I co-produce with somebody, I lay out everything that goes into the production, and I'm like, what sounds fun to you, or where do you want to try to stretch yourself? Do you want to design a flyer? Do you want to pick the whole lineup? Do you want to find a venue? Like all of these things, and then the everything else I'll pick up too. We can collaborate and work together to make it happen, because I think it can feel intimidating to jump into producing and to be able to have a stepping stone to see if it's something that you like. Why not? You know?
Okay. And then how does all this get paid for? Because I know you pay your talent.
Yeah.
Where's the money coming from?
Oh, it's me. I made a commitment and an investment, and every month I just hope to break even. But really, since it's been a little over a year, our audience is growing, our following is growing, and it's nice to be able to have had many sold out shows this year so far. So that's been helpful. So I'm just kind of hoping for the best out here as we grow, and want to be able to continue to pay performers and hopefully pay them even more as we grow our audience. So.
And also, congratulations, you just had a 1-year anniversary
Yes, thank
for
you.
Lady Laughs Philly. I think it was in February?
March, yeah.
March, there you
Yes,
go.
yeah.
And where did you celebrate that?
We celebrated that at Nikki Lopez on South Street. It's a new venue there. So we had a show there last month as well.
Okay, awesome. How can people learn about Lady Laughs Philly?
You can follow us on Instagram at Lady Laughs Philly. You can DM us if you have any questions, if you want to come to any of our shows. We also always have a handful of free tickets for especially BIPOC folks if you can't afford a ticket, but we want to make sure that comedy is accessible to anybody.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Shawna.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode. You can also watch us on YouTube and Roku, and follow us on @PhillyCAM